Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of On the DL. My name is Danielle.
And I'm Linda.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm just dandy.
Are you just Andy?
Yeah. How was your weekend?
What an interesting weekend I had.
Pourquoi?
So I think I started to tell you. I think I did tell you. So I had matched with this person. Did I talk about this last week? I don't think I did.
I don't think so, no. I didn't even know you're still on Hinge.
No, I'm not. I
Oh.
left that shit in 2023. So, like, I had matched with this person back in, like, July of 2023, like last summer. And I guess it kind of fizzled out. Like, I don't care, whatever. And I get this random message saying, why did we stop texting? Like, on my Instagram.
Yes.
I was like, I don't.
Yeah, no, that man needs to be put away.
I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, like with all the M's.
Ew.
So cringe.
Ew, it's so cringy.
I want to meet for a drink. And I'm like, I was like, honestly, I don't really do drinks. Like, if you want to meet up with me, I was like, if you want to take me to dinner, I might be open to that. And then he like wrote back, oh, we can go to the diner. I'm like, the diner.
Ew,
And
the
I just
diner.
I just
what do you
kinda
want to
like,
order? Chicken fingers and fries?
Maybe.
And pancakes?
Oh,
It's
not
so
the pancakes.
Weird.
I was like, LOL. And then he's like, fine, but we both have to pay. And I was like, oh.
You screenshot that to me, and I was like, Danielle, why are you sending me this?
It was so cringe that I was like, I'll have to pass, thank you. And then he writes back, ugh, so you want me to pay for you? I don't even know you. You're ridiculous. I was thinking to myself, am I ridiculous?
No,
I don't think I'm ridiculous.
Issues. That man has serious issues that he needs psychological help with.
But the thing is, I didn't reach out to him.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's not like I was on a dating app, like freely floating around, like asking for dates. Like you literally slid into my DMs for whatever reason. You slid into my DMs, and I have to what? No, get out of here with your bullshit.
Like you're wasting my time. You're not only are you pissing me off, and you're wasting my time.
Yeah, none of that.
Blocked.
So stupid.
Blocked.
Also, if you're gonna slide into someone's DMs and then suggest the diner and then say we both have to pay, like, don't bother.
Yeah, fuck off. That's weird. That's so strange.
We had that conversation last year about should we go halvesies on a date, and I feel like if you want, especially to make a first impression, no, buy me dinner.
Not on the first date. I think like the first like 3-4 dates. No. You know what I mean? Once you're dating somebody and you guys are like exclusive and you're seeing them all the time, then it's like, all right, I'll pick up the bill. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, or
or if they're like spending like a lot of money like on a lot of different things or like a trip or something, I'm like, oh, I got a dinner, you know? Oh man, I got the dinner. It's fine.
I bought you a drink ticket.
I bought you a drink. Here you go. Here.
I just need money for the tip. Thank you.
I got you a coffee.
Like, there you go.
Don't worry, babe. I got it.
I got you a Starbucks.
It's the thought that counts.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Today, we are continuing our conspiracy series. You guys are really liking the conspiracy series.
Okay.
Actually, nobody told me that they did, but I'm going to assume that you guys like the conspiracy series.
I mean, I liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Well, hopefully
I learned
this
a lot
one
about
we won't
Amelia
lose.
Earhart. Yeah, that's
okay.
true. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about, on this episode, we're going to be talking about a glitch in the Matrix. I don't even know how we came. I mean, a few of you did write in about kind of things that relate to a glitch in the Matrix. So, kind of doing this this subject, I guess.
Okay.
Made the most sense. And you were actually the one, something came up and you're like, that's what we're doing. We're doing a glitch in the Matrix. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
I like black out on so many different occasions when
Maybe
I start
it was a glitch
talking.
in the Matrix.
Well, honestly, that could be a thing. Like losing time is definitely, or could be a glitch in the Matrix. But let's start with what the Matrix is. Now, this kind of started like with the movies. So the very first Matrix movie came out in 1999, which is like 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 2024. I can't even believe how old I am. It's so crazy. They were like such a big deal when they came out because like the cast and the crew, all the people that were involved in this movie had to go to training for like months and months because like the fight scenes were so intricate and, you know, they really did, like they put a lot into this movie. It was like a big deal.
And they were really high grossing movies.
Yes. They were like in the billions until about 2006. And then they actually came out with another, so there's 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The first one came out in 1999. The following 2 was it Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions, I think they were called, in 2003, and then Matrix
Revelation,
something like that.
I have no idea.
I can't remember, but that came out in 2021.
Okay,
so it's kind of like their full
that's
circle
a huge
moment.
Like
for
that's
them.
a big time gap.
Well, because in the third one, you kind of like it was resolved, but not.
Okay.
So there was a lot more to like.
I never watched the
go
movies,
through.
So
I can't even handle that you have never seen these movies, and these movies, like I don't know, they defined an entire like generation of millennials. Honestly, like in 1999, that's like I graduated in 2000, so like all of that movie coming out was like everything, and everybody wanted to dress like Trinity, who is Carrie-Anne Moss in the movie.
Yeah. I do know what they look like. Like, obviously, like, the movies were so big. Like, we all know, you say The Matrix, you think, oh, the movie? Or, you know what I mean? You know, like, there's certain things that you do. You're like, oh, you look like you were in The Matrix or something. Like, even when I wear, like, my long black trench coat, and they're like, you look like you're in The Matrix. And I'm like, so everybody knows, but I've just never seen them.
It's so sad.
I know.
The Matrix, okay. So it's basically saying that in the future, the world gets taken over by machines.
Which is very accurate.
I mean, we're kind of like on the track. And what the machines do is they need humans, like their life force, their energy to power
the machines.
And also, well, yeah, just to, they use them as energy, basically.
That's why Walt Disney froze his head.
Maybe. So in the movie, everybody's like in these pods.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're basically just draining the life force of the humans. And like, that's what it is. But there are a few humans that, either survived like the resistance and they free people. They know how to get in and out of the Matrix. Now, the Matrix is a computer program. It's a simulation.
Okay.
So everybody that's like walking around in the Matrix, they're essentially walking around in a computer. Like it's a computer program that's running, and that's
kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's one guy that like started the whole thing, and so these people they're looking for their, I don't want to say like their messiah, but it's like their chosen one that's going to lead the revolution against the machines to take down the Matrix. So that's like the premise of the movie, and they pull one guy out, and they basically are saying, okay, what if I told you everything that you know in this world is not real? What if I told you that? And he gives them a choice, and there's like a red pill and a blue pill. So the blue pill is like you can go back, wake up in your bed and believe whatever the fuck you want. Or if you take the red pill, you go further down the rabbit hole and you find out what I'm talking about, what the Matrix is really about.
That's so cool.
And these
Which
phrases,
one would you choose?
I'd fucking go all the way down that rabbit
yeah,
hole.
hell
Let's
yeah.
fucking go.
Take me all the way. I want to know.
But this film, it actually coined a lot of different terms. Like red pill, blue pill is definitely something that people use
for sure.
now. Because like the red pill is like the harsh reality of like what goes on, and kind of just it's a fucking hard pill to swallow and like figure out glitches in the Matrix. People use that all the time now too. So like the Matrix, having a glitch in the Matrix only makes sense to someone that believes in this notion that we are in a simulation. That's what it is. And also another fun fact, the movies were inspired by a book by a French philosopher that I really did try so hard to read. It's a lot. I couldn't.
There's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words, and I had to like look up pronunciations and like look up meanings. And I was like, oh my God, I guess I'm not that smart.
happens whenever I read a book and it's like, be like, I've never seen that word in my life. Like, great.
Yeah. I actually, even when we were sitting here, I had to like look up, I'm like, I cannot pronounce this word wrong. It's simulacra. Simulacra.
I've never even heard that word before, Danielle.
It's something that, here's the definition, something that replaces reality with its own representation. The Matrix, it's a simulation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, the glitches only make sense if you believe in this notion that, yes, we are in a simulation. And there's a few things that are common as glitches in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Number one is objects vanishing and sometimes reappearing. Sometimes they are never seen again. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they reappear in the same location, which has been repeatedly searched. Sometimes they reappear in broad daylight in a position where they could have been easily seen. Sometimes they reappear in physically impossible locations, such as a locked room or container. So that's a common glitch in the Matrix, but also could have other things that could explain it.
Yeah, for sure.
Number two, people being seen by different witnesses at different locations at the same time, or not being seen in places where they should be. People vanishing, often for considerable times, often with multiple searches, and then reappearing and claiming that they have never left the spot. People seeing themselves. So it's like you're walking, you're just like the Spider-Mans that are all pointing at each other.
Yeah. You're like, wait, like you seeing yourself is weird. Yes. Or like seeing somebody and you're like, why do I know this person, but I've never met this person before?
Yes. Changes in everyday familiar objects. The color of a front door, the length of a piece of cloth, the presence of mature trees in a place where trees have never existed. So all of these things could be chalked up as glitches in the Matrix, but they could also be,
have explanations.
I very much believe in paranormal things.
Yeah, for sure.
So that could always be one, or it could also be, I don't know, maybe you're blackout drunk and you think you remember something and you don't.
That's the other thing too. I feel like trusting your brain so much that you're like, this wasn't me. This was a glitch in the Matrix. And like, even when I was like trying to find like stories and stuff to like, to share today, like when you're an outsider, like reading some of these, you're like, well, I mean, it could have just slid behind the refrigerator and you just never found it and then you go to move and you're like, what is this doing here? I lost this 15 years ago. Oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. There could be an explanation to stuff, but there are definitely some things that are just unexplained.
Yes.
Unexplained.
Yeah, that's correct. And, honestly.
And I think it's also a thing where it makes people feel a lot better, right? Like, naturally, as humans, we feel a lot better when there's an explanation behind something. Or like anxiety, for example. I have really bad anxiety. Why? I don't know. And that's what makes it worse. But if you have anxiety and you're like, oh, I have anxiety because I have a to-do list that's this long and I need to like crunch it out, your anxiety's there. But once you finish that list, you're like, okay, I feel a lot better. But when you don't know where it's coming from or like whatever it is, anything, like even if I have like a headache, if I know that headache is because of dehydration, I feel a lot better about my headache. But I'm like, I slept, I'm hydrated, my hair is washed. Why do I have a headache? And then I start freaking out because I'm like, there's no reason. But if I have an explanation to something, I feel better about it. So I feel like people can easily be like, that's because of a glitch in the Matrix. It makes people feel better about.
But having that kind of explanation that we are actually living in a computer simulation and like maybe the machines are feeding off our bodies.
Genuinely believe that.
But how would that make anyone feel better? Like they're literally feeding on my body right now, and that's gonna make me feel like, oh, it's just a glitch in the. No, it's what? No, that's scary.
See, I think of it as like time and space, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna get into what the law of physics are because I don't know them.
Oh no, I'm good, thank you. I can't even read. I can't even read. What?
Algebra? The fuck? Anyway, but in my head, I always think to myself, I'm like, we are alive in a different dimension somewhere else. Like, that's just my belief, right? Like, everybody has their own things, whatever. Mm-hmm. Mine is like, okay, me and you exist. We're doing some other bullshit in another planet in a faraway place in the year 4032. And we just happen to be in year, 2024. So I always think like, there's like a glitch where like something happens where I'm like, why do I know what this is? Or it's like, oh, is it a past life? Like we were talking about like last week.
Yep.
Or something like that.
It could be a time fold.
Yeah. There's like so many different things. And you can't, the thing about it is you can't prove it wrong. You know what I mean? You can't really prove it to be wrong. Just like religion, right? We can't prove that it's wrong.
No.
Like certain things they're unexplainable. You can't prove that it's wrong and you can't prove that it's right. And that's where like that little gray area. And that's why like I think conspiracy theories are fun to explore because the person's like, well, that doesn't make sense and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, you can't prove it wrong. Like paranormal activity, there are people who don't believe it, don't believe in it, but you can't prove that it doesn't exist. And you can't prove that it does. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's
like nestled into this little area, and we're like, all right, let's get comfy.
Yeah.
Let's get comfy and live in this unknown sitch.
Literally. But I don't know. I don't think I've ever, like, definitely like deja vu. Like, there's moments where like I sit there and I'm like, I get so overwhelmed where I'm like, I've done these exact things before.
Mm-hmm.
Like this exact, like I'll like literally sit there and be like, oh my God, like this has happened to me before. Like you were sitting there, my exact thoughts, like, and it's like overwhelming. It's a very overwhelming feeling. Deja vu, I'd be like, that's the Matrix. Like something.
Well,
there is a glitch somewhere.
It's like a loop.
Yeah.
They do it over again, and that's why you feel that way.
And they're like, is this another chance to do something differently? And then I fuck it up all over again. You know what I mean?
There's always another chance to do something differently. Let's always remember that, guys.
Yes.
We're never stuck in any situation.
Never. You can always get out. And it's, what is it? What is the word? The only way out is through.
Through.
Yeah. Is that the quote?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. That makes sense.
She said, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That makes sense.
So I don't personally have any. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I've definitely experienced deja vu, but I don't have any like real glitch in the Matrix stories. I do have like these weird dreams where I see and I walk into places where I'm like, I know this house, but I've never been here before. But I feel like that's just me visiting other timelines.
Yeah. I think also dreams are interesting because when I took, believe it or not, I took AP Psych. Okay. I was like obsessed with psych, and everybody that I went to high school with will know when I say AP Psych who my teacher was, and she was a nut job. She was fucking crazy.
Love
but
that.
It was an amazing class, and we had an entire semester on dreams and like the psychology behind dreams. And it's like so interesting because like going back to like a glitch in the Matrix, right? You can't prove it wrong, right?
Yeah.
They put the little like patches on people's heads to, track like wavelengths and like, oh, you dream when you're not in REM, or you dream when you're half awake. So it's like a combination of whatever you did that day or whatever you were thinking about with a combination of like hopes and dreams, you know what I mean? That are kind of correlating. And then there's, my roommate's cat flying a car. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like my dreams are weird. You know what I mean? But like in dreams are always so interesting whenever somebody is like, oh, what does the dream mean? You know what I mean? It's like you're never going to get a clear-cut answer of like what your dreams mean because nobody can prove it. Like nobody can prove why you're dreaming what you're dreaming, where it's coming from, where you're like getting it from your brain, what part of your brain you're getting certain images or nostalgic feelings, or like, I've been here before, but I've never been here before. This looks right, but it's different. Or like, I saw somebody in my dream. I've never seen that person in my life, but you could have literally passed them in the street and your brain took a picture, an image.
Yeah.
And it was stored somewhere that's not in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
And when you're dreaming, that person's, controlling a fucking a roller coaster ride at the Big E in your dream, and you're like, who is that?
They have roller coasters there?
Because your brain, when you're dreaming, your brain doesn't create people.
It can't. Your brain can't make a new face.
So it's like when you dream of people and you're like, who the fuck is that? You've seen them before. You know what I mean? So it's like a combination of everything.
It's just us visiting different timelines, love. Insane.
It's fucking crazy.
That's the one I'll die on that hill. That's where we go when we sleep.
Well, going back to like what I was saying, like we exist somewhere else.
Yeah, when we all fall asleep, that's where we go.
Dreamland.
We're visiting other timelines. We're
that's
visiting.
Fucking cool.
We're finding whatever energies are calling out to us, and I
don't
genuinely
dream often.
believe that.
I don't remember. Let me rephrase that. I don't remember, and sometimes like I'll wake up. And I'd be like, oh, that was so weird. And then within seconds,
Gone.
It just starts disintegrating into thin air. And I'm like, I had a dream about you last night. What was it about? I don't know. But I know that you were in it and you did something and I don't remember.
And you did a thing and maybe another thing.
I hate when that happens. You like literally wake up and I want to like start writing them down because as soon as like I start really coming to, my dream just vanishes into thin air. I'm like, what the fuck was I just dreaming about?
Yeah. I actually have a journal next to my bed because I'm like, I got to start writing them down and I can't because like when I wake up, I'm like,
disoriented.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. I also can't like do anything or talk to anybody for at least 20 minutes after I wake up. Like, do not bug me for the first 20 minutes of my awakening because I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I am. I'm not speaking properly. I'm like, just leave me alone. First 20 minutes. Unless there's a coffee in your hand, don't
Please
talk to me.
back the fuck up.
Back the fuck up.
All right. So I'll start.
Okay.
Because I found this one, which I thought was kind of cool because there's an animal involved. And we all know that animals, like, they are on a different frequency than we are as people.
Okay.
Like, they see different things. They can feel different things.
Oh, for sure. Especially dogs.
Yeah. So I liked this one. So this one is called My Dog Confirms the Glitch.
Oh, I saw this one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, forgive me if something's not written well. English is not my first language. There I was playing video games in my room with my dog lying next to me and my boyfriend working on the computer in his office, which is opposite, but at a considerable distance since my house is quite big. I listened to him start having a conversation with his colleague over the headphones. Whenever he concentrates on talking, he starts walking around the house, so I'm not surprised to hear him walking away towards the kitchen. My hallway is long and echoes, and I heard him talking as he crossed it. And once there, he starts moving things in the kitchen. I thought he would want to eat something, as did my dog, who immediately raised his head, listening to the noises, and ran towards the kitchen. What happened next is that I immediately heard his voice much closer. He has a high-pitched voice. I even got a little scared. I raised my head and saw him leaving the next room, still focused on the conversation. I thought my ears had deceived me, and that was where he was the whole time, until I look down the hallway and see my dog arrive, who stares at my boyfriend, very puzzled, and turns his head a couple times towards the kitchen and then again to my boyfriend. Would he be so focused that he teleported away without realizing it? Did my dog come to see him in the kitchen? The poor guy seemed really confused. I don't know how to explain to him that sometimes the Matrix fails. So, like, the dog went to go follow the boyfriend into the kitchen, and then he wasn't in the kitchen, and the dog came out and was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what happened? So...
And then you go up to the person and you're like, were you just in the kitchen? They're like, no, I've been on the fucking phone.
Yeah.
In my office. I hate when that happens because then you feel weird. You're like, that's awkward.
Like,
you know
did I just hallucinate?
Did I just like make that shit up? It's funny because there was like a lot of stories that I was reading, right? Like there is like when you were saying like the glitch in the Matrix can be like, oh, you know, I lost this one thing and I searched everywhere for it. And then I found it on my dresser like 2 days later. And it's like, but
like, hello.
I looked there. You know what I mean? Like something that like you can't explain kind of thing. And I think things like that when you're trying to explain to somebody like, no, I swear to God, I lost it. And they're like, no, you just lost your fucking mind.
No, it could have been the ghost.
Because I also can be on the phone talking, searching for my phone. And I'm like, where's my phone? I'm on it.
Hello.
How can I trust my brain? Okay. To trust that I left something somewhere when I'm looking for my phone while I'm talking on the phone. I just trusting your brain. That's another one. So it's like in things like that, like even the dog.
Yeah, the dog was confused.
The dog was like, where the fuck's my food?
Like, what? Where'd you go?
The dog's like, I thought you were going into the kitchen to get my food. Why aren't you getting me my food?
He's like, you know, like when you stand up and the dog's like, all right, I'm coming too. And you're like, but I'm really just going to go. No, okay, I got to come with you. So he really was. He's like, okay, going to the kitchen. That means there's treats. Let's go. To come out and be like, but why?
Where the fuck's my treat?
Like, what?
Your job is literally to go get me treats. You got up, you went into the kitchen and started slamming shit around. You never got me my treat. Yeah, that's weird. I think, I guess we can go like story for story.
Ooh, story for story. Okay,
yeah.
We slam it down on the table.
Honestly, I did not screenshot it, but I remember it because I actually reset it to somebody after I read it because I was like, oh, that's interesting. So like the one with like missing objects, there was a story of a kid who was at his grandma's house, and his grandma was away for the weekend, and he was grabbing ice cream for himself, and he went and got like the little ice cream scooper, like the big scoopers, whatever.
Yeah.
And he took out a fresh tub of ice cream, and he takes the scooper out, and the phone rings at the same time. It was like a landline at the time. So he takes the scooper and he leaves it on top of the fresh, brand new tub of ice cream. Leaves it on top, and he goes to pick up the phone. And as he's on the phone, he hears it drop on the floor. Like the ice cream scooper dropped on the floor, and he's like, fuck, you know? He finally gets off the phone. He goes back to the ice cream, and the scooper is missing. Like, he knew it fell on the floor. He said he moved all of the appliances. He said he searched high and low because it's grandma's ice cream scooper. He has to find grandma's ice cream scooper, and he couldn't fucking find it. And he was like, it was literally lost. Like, no one's ever found the goddamn ice cream scooper. How do you explain that? It's an ice cream scooper. Like, there was one story I heard of, like, this one woman. She had like a picture that her daughter took, and it was like on the refrigerator, and like it fell and it just disappeared, disintegrated into thin air. And I'm like, it's such a thin thing. It could have literally slipped in like the weirdest of places.
Like a little crevice?
Like a tiny little crevice, or even in the refrigerator. If there's like a random little crevice within the refrigerator, like you can kind of explain it, but a fucking ice cream scooper, those things are huge and they're clunky. That's not falling between the oven and the cabinet. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Where the fuck is an ice cream scooper gonna go?
Maybe it was like a little leprechaun, and he just came and took it because, you know, they're like kind of mischievous.
Yeah, they are. Have you ever seen
Yeah, they are.
They really are. Have you ever seen Halloween Town?
No.
Okay, so are you familiar with those movies?
Isn't Selena Gomez in that?
No.
Okay, then
no. So there's I think it's like three. There's three of them, like Halloween Town. It's like a different alternate universe where all like goblins and witches and all these
sounds like my kind of place
creatures live. You should watch it. It's actually a cute movie. I mean, it was for my childhood, but whatever. And there's this one, I think it's the third one. There is this one area of Halloween Town where it's very gray. Everything's black and white and it's just gray. And there's this one person's house where whenever you lose something, it goes into his home. Oh. And he's just like this angry little old man because he's like, oh, like new things just keep popping up in his house. Like if you lost it.
Wouldn't you be pissed too?
Yeah, I would be pissed too. Like, fuck, why do you guys keep losing shit? But it was so funny because as soon as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I ended up at that leprechaun's house.
Yeah, damn, the leprechaun.
I was like, he lost it in the Halloween Town house of lost items. And I said it to my sister. She's like, you're such a weirdo. I was like, that's where my head went. I was like, it went into the land of lost objects.
There's got to be a land of lost objects, honestly.
The like fucking ice cream scooper.
Socks go missing.
I'm sorry.
Fucking all that other shit.
I'm convinced that my dryer eats my socks. They go in together.
I feel
they
like
never come out together.
I feel like there's a video where you can like take apart part of your dryer and like that's where the socks go.
It's
and now I gotta look.
Do not fucking trust me with a fucking screwdriver, bitch.
Make sure you unplug it. Oh my god. If you're gonna try that at home, just unplug it. Unplug your dryer.
Maybe hire somebody.
Oh my god. I remember one time I tried to unplug my dryer and plug it back in, and I shocked myself.
Did you really, Danielle?
It was like me. I'm like, oh no.
That is one thing.
That's why I don't touch shit.
I press the buttons on the washer and dryer, and that's it. If there's anything else that needs to be done, I'm calling a man.
Help.
Help
I'll
give you my monies. Please fix it. Like, I don't know.
Okay. So here's another one. This is the elevator guy.
Okay.
This happened a few years back at my college dorm. Roommate and I, both around age 19 probably, were coming back to the dorm after dark. It's one of those buildings where you have to scan your university ID card to get in. Unless someone from the inside lets you in, there's no other way. We walk up to the building and see someone maybe 10 feet ahead of us scan their card and go inside. The key here is that he is just far enough ahead of us as to where as soon as he goes inside, the door shuts itself, and we are there scanning in our IDs to open the door for ourselves. Once inside the lobby area, there is one elevator on either side. These elevators are maybe another 10 feet from the entrance door we just walked in. As we walk inside the building, we see the person who went in before us walk inside the elevator. and the doors shut just as we approach it. The same elevator he just got into. I press the button, and to my surprise, the doors open instantly, like instantly. As soon as the doors closed, they were opening again, except this time there was nobody inside. I hesitated, but walked into the elevator and pushed
I wouldn't. Fuck that shit. Goodbye.
She said,
I'll take the stairs, baby.
Push my floor button. The energy between me and my roommate felt tense, and I didn't say anything as I was trying to rationalize what I just saw in my brain. My roommate spoke up first, saying, "Did you just see that guy?" and verified that I wasn't the only one who had seen it. We continued trying to come up with some kind of explanation and came to nothing. Even if the elevator guy only went up one floor, there was nowhere near enough time for the elevator to go up and come back down in time. Again, the doors closed with him inside mere seconds before they reopened after I pushed the button.
That's fucking weird.
Never experienced something like this since then. Still spooks me.
What do you think it was?
It was...
Because, I mean, there's both of them are saying, unless they both took something.
Maybe they were... But a lot of times, if you do take something, the chances of you hallucinating the same exact thing are very, very slim.
Yeah, that's true.
So it could either be that it was a glitch, like maybe it was the computer simulation running the man through, or it was a ghost.
A ghost.
It was a ghost, love. A ghost.
I mean, I guess, right? I guess it could be. Okay, this one was really interesting. I found it. These are all of mine are Reddit. r/glitch in the matrix.
Okay.
Literally, I just
glitch in the matrix.
Literally went down the rabbit hole. Okay. It was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I decided to take a trip with my best friend to nature. The plans were to camp for 2 nights and take a break from the city. Everything was perfect. We spent hours talking about life and girl things. The contact with nature was incredible. At the end of the night of the second day, we left everything organized to leave early the next day, since we had to return to our daily lives to fulfill our responsibilities. Leaving everything ready, we went to sleep in the tent. The next morning, everything was crazy when I woke up, and I was in my bed at home. I was so disoriented that I didn't know what was happening. So I took my cell phone out to call my friend. The first thing I see is I have so many missed calls from her. When she picked up the phone, she was crazy because she also woke up in her bed. The craziest thing of all is that everything was as if we had made the trip alone. We had everything we took on the trip, our phones, our travel supplies, the car, everything was there. But the last thing we remembered was that we were going to sleep in the tent. So then, like, a lot of the comments were like, people would be like, go through your phone, like go through. And she's like, there was the trip logged of us coming back.
Yeah.
Like the trip was logged of us getting in the car, doing the GPS to come back. Like everything is in there. Like the car had like the mud on it from like, you know, road tripping through like nature and stuff. She's like, it all happened, but we fell asleep in the tent and we woke up in our beds. Like neither one of them remember driving back home. Isn't that weird?
It could be like alien abduction.
So that a lot of the comments were saying that it was aliens that abducted them. And in your nature,
or maybe they took the blue pill.
Probably. But I feel
what
like
they
aliens,
said.
like, do you remember a while ago you were, I think we were in Austin, Texas. You were playing some podcast about alien abductions.
Oh, yeah.
Where they like get abducted by aliens, but then they forget everything. Like that's Men in Black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Beep.
Yeah, to wear the Ray-Bans.
Yeah. And then they forget everything. It's probably what happened to these girls.
What is it? The neuralizer or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know.
Brain neuralizer?
There was another story very similar to this. He was road tripping with his friend, and they both kind of like woke up because he was veering off the road. But when he looked at the time, he was asleep for 45 minutes. And he's like, there's no way I was driving a straight line
for 45 minutes.
For 45 minutes. It was like unexplainable, but yeah.
Yeah, missing time is a big one.
Yeah.
But also missing time is a big one for aliens. And, you know, they've already confirmed that aliens are, in fact, a thing and they do come and get us. So, I mean, Can you imagine being the government and being like, yeah, you got me. There's aliens. They're coming for you.
Imagine being us and be like, yeah, we have bigger issues right now.
That's exactly what happened.
But do you remember when we were doing the podcast about the aliens? And I was like, why does nobody care about the aliens?
Because there's so many other crazy things
like
that are happening.
Literally, we're like, we trust that you guys got the aliens under control.
Yeah.
But we can't control ourselves.
No.
We can't control ourselves.
What is it, the lizard people?
Yeah. The aliens abduction. So you think this was an alien thing?
It could be.
I
mean,
so.
I don't know. I just don't know if I can ever let myself fully believe that we are in a simulation because like that's just it's too much for my brain to like encompass, and I might go nuts.
Yeah.
Because if we're in a simulation, what button can I press to like be the millionaire?
Yeah.
What button can I press to be Jeff Bezos? Because like, can I just
press the button?
Like if we're
what about those pills? Where are those pills?
Yeah, if we're in a computer fucking program, like program me. Hello.
Use me.
You have to watch the Matrix movies because like in these movies, you go into their training room, which is literally just like one big white box.
Okay.
And you get a program like inserted into your brain. And then like Keanu Reeves wakes up and he goes, I know Kung Fu. Like shit like that. Like hello. If that's what we're doing.
Make me rich.
Hello, make me really fucking smart so I can take over the world like Pinky in the Brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like, give me the program that gives me access to the other, 85% of my brain so I can like levitate. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be so cool. What about? Do you remember that movie Jumper?
Yes.
Where he could just go from place to place. I would do that. Like that's what I would want.
Yeah, I mean, what does it say? Like we in our lifetimes only use what 10% of our brain or something like that.
I don't even think it's 10. I think it's 2 to 5%.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's like fucking tragic. So like, what about that other those other percentages of our brains that we probably could fly.
I feel like that's why the people who do use a lot of their brain are fucking crazy. Like they're not okay in the head.
Because they're using their whole brain.
Yeah, they're just...
That's got to really be like painful. Yeah, like I only use like this much of my brain and I'm like, oh my God.
I read something and I was like, all right, well, I'm done for the month. That's going to hurt for the next month. I just read something. I'm straight for a while. Dude, I'm good.
I used to be like so good at reading, like sitting by myself and like reading a book. Now I can't do it. And like I can't focus, and it's like I really try so hard, and I'm like I really want to like read this.
You're like I really want to do this, but I can't.
Okay. Years ago, I was talking to a colleague. He was nice. He was a nice guy, but too young for me and not my type. In any event, he was leaving to move abroad the following month, and I was divorced and 40 years old. While we were talking, I got what I can only describe as a vivid image in my mind. It was of myself and this colleague. We were married with 2 children and living in a very hot place. Fast forward 5 years and all of this came true. He stayed in England. A few months later, we dated, got married, had 2 children when I was in my mid-40s. Then out of the blue, he was offered a job in the Middle East and we all moved there. I know it's a coincidence, but it's really strange.
That's interesting.
So she flashed forward in her program.
That's weird. It was a manifestation.
Maybe.
She manifested it.
But it was like a daydream.
Yeah.
But it was like a flash. Do you ever hear those stories about like I mean, I didn't find any of these in the glitch of the in the Matrix sub, but I've seen TikToks or reels or like whatever about people that literally like live an entire life and then wake up back to where they started. You know what I mean? Like they'll like live their whole life.
Like in a dream? Like in a moment, you're saying?
Yeah, or maybe in a dream, or maybe they do live the life and then it just resets. Maybe that's their glitch, is it resets.
Oh.
Like what about like Final Destination? Think about like shit like that where you like see something happening and you're like, okay, like let's like get off this ride or like let's get off this plane,
you're like
whatever.
I don't feel right about this.
Yeah. So
you have like visions like Raven Simone. That's so Raven. And she goes,
no. That's a little bit like after my time, so I did not watch that show.
She always has like the visions. She's like, don't do it.
Yeah, the premonitions, man. I mean,
well, I think that people have like different types of, like, you hear of like people who can, talk to people who have passed, or like see visions or have feelings that are so strong and they always come true. You know what I mean? Like, I have a client who his sister-in-law I don't know if I can even say this on the podcast. She works for a very important organization, like a very, very
like the
important
CIA.
Yeah. And but she has like this ability to sense where dead bodies are. So she literally works for them and she helps them solve murder mysteries or find dead bodies, essentially.
So she sees them, or she like smells them?
I don't know.
Like a dog.
Like she
a cadaver
senses
dog.
them. Yeah, basically. But it's a whole human. But people have literal, like, that's probably using a part of your brain that we don't. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's why we're not allowed to use most of our brain. What if we have access to the Matrix if we do?
I think that's what it is. Actually, someone said something to me the other day, and they're like, when you drink tap water, the fluoride in the water.
Oh, my God. Fucks with your brain. Shut up.
It calcifies your perineal gland. And I go, what the fuck is that?
It's been like a thing since the beginning.
They're like, it's your third eye. I'm like, stop it. What? Yeah. They're like, yeah, it calcifies it. And because they don't want you using your third eye. I was like, well, maybe because if you use your third eye, you'll like be able to fly and take over the government.
See, like, I don't want that type of responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know. Like, I don't want to be so open to like knowing all the fucked up things that are happening. Because it's always like, it's the people who talk about that, like the fluoride being bad for your third eye. It always comes back to how the government's trying to kill them. And it's like,
but the government is, though.
100%.
But the government is trying to.
If we sit here and just fucking engulf our brain into thinking the government's going to kill us, what are you doing every day? Like, I need to still continue doing my life, working, paying my bills, and doing what I like. Me having that type of information isn't going to do anything for me.
So you're taking the blue pill.
Yeah.
You're taking that blue pill.
Yeah, because you know
you're
what?
Like, let me go back to bed.
The people that are taking the red pill, that's why we started a conspiracy series, because of the people that took the red pill, who just keep going down these rabbit holes on God knows what. Fluoride is good for your teeth. Fluoride is really good for your teeth.
Because it calcifies them?
Keeps you from getting cavities.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take fluoride because I don't have health insurance to go get my teeth fixed if I get fucking cavities. So I'll do everything else. I have an interesting story. It was actually a comment from somebody else's story.
Okay.
When I was reading, I was like, this one's really interesting because it kind of fucked with me because it's a little loaded. So me and my friend took a train into New York City to visit a specialty, parentheses, occult bookstore for a particular book I wanted but couldn't find. This is before online shopping was a thing. Going through Grand Central Station, we passed a man, tall and big, with a big smile and interestingly happy face. We both noticed him in the crowd. Out of the street, several blocks away, we saw him again. We then stopped to buy some things, browse, etc., then resumed our walk. Blocks later, he passed by us and kind of like laughed. Imagine deep, hearty laugh. Now we were both a little shocked. Yeah, like, stop it. We arrived at the bookstore, which was on the second floor, up in a dim, narrow staircase. We entered, and right away, we saw the same man at the desk paying for a book. We stared. We stared. He laughed heartedly as he walked past us and out of the door. After we felt calmer from that shock, I went to the desk and asked about a book I was looking for. It was a pretty obscure astrology book concerning a pretty obscure subtopic. The shop owner began to laugh and explained to us that he couldn't remember the last time someone asked for that book except for the guy right before us. At that point, we weren't even shocked anymore. It was just like suddenly everything made sense. And then somebody said, it was you from the future and that book was going to ruin your life. He saved you. And I was like,
maybe.
My brain went, I was like, oh my God. I was like, that is So weird. So this man that they kept seeing around Grand Central, whatever, ended up going into the bookstore and buying the exact book that they wanted.
So they couldn't get the book.
So they couldn't get the book. And he was laughing all the way through the bookstore. But isn't that weird? But the comment fucked me up after. It was like, it was you from the future and that book was going to ruin your life. He saved you.
Yeah.
Because it was an occult book, too. You start opening portals. Be careful.
Yeah, don't be doing that.
Don't be opening up portals. That's another glitch in the Matrix.
I had somebody ask me
the opening of the portals
about a Ouija board, and I was like,
No.
I don't fuck with Ouija boards. Like, I am way too sensitive to be fucking with any of that shit.
No.
Not inviting anything into my home.
No, thank you.
I'm not going to invite anything to attach itself to me. No. Not doing that.
Yeah, it's scary, especially like once you open that door.
And it's funny because it's like a game. Like Hasbro makes it. You know what I mean? Like
that's weird.
It's like a game.
I don't like that.
You know?
Yeah, I don't like that. Fucking with it.
I'm nervous.
No.
Just talking about it makes me nervous. I'm like,
what was that one game, Jumanji?
That's not a real game, is it?
I don't know.
It's a movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
It's not like a game.
Don't they play that game in the movie?
Yeah, and then they're like actually on the board,
Yeah.
and everything that they are playing actually happens
Maybe
to them
these
in real
movies
life.
have just been showing us. It's literally in our face since we were kids. It's literally been in our face since we were children.
Well, I mean, if you think about all these movies, they're, I feel like, meant to kind of desensitize us
Yeah, that's true.
to things. So we're just kind of like, oh,
Okay, whatever.
that's happening? All right. Like,
Yeah, like, oh, we saw this in a movie
I
one
need
time.
to get back to work. Excuse me. Do you know what I mean?
Literally me.
Like, that's what
Literally me. I'm
saying.
like, all right, that's cool. Anyway,
I need to
the
go.
only movie that I'm like, when we talk about like AI and robots and stuff, and I'm like, have none of us seen the movies? Do we all know how this ends? Is nobody referring to the movies?
No. Well, you know, when people they did the same thing with like when they find the dinosaur. Oh, they found a dinosaur egg and they're gonna try to hatch it. And it's like there's so many movies that said this is a bad idea.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't
Or
hatch
like
the
the mummy.
dinosaur. Yeah,
They're
no.
trying to like open the
Resurrect.
sarcophagus or whatever they're trying to like open it, and they're like, dude, don't. Why would you do that?
It's like it was closed by a spell and there's a curse and let's try and lift it. It's like let's
leave
not.
it alone.
Leave it alone.
What are you doing?
People are so weird.
It's like people that open Pandora's box. Stop touching that.
Don't
touch
that.
it.
Like, what was it? The Warrens up in Newtown.
Yeah.
They're like, ooh, open the box with the doll in it. It's
Get
like, we
outta
all
here.
know
No.
what happens.
Don't touch that box.
Literally, they just put people on a shock collar. Like, stop it. Zzz. Zzz. Stop it. Fucking ridiculous. Trying to fuck with the Matrix. Like, I don't want the Matrix
You
fucked
have like
with.
a little spray bottle and you just like spray it in their face.
Stop it.
You don't do that.
Don't touch the box with the creepy doll inside.
Fucking touch that shit.
Side note, I have an uncle, older man, like older. He's terrified of dolls because of dolls coming alive and shit. Like, this is a grown ass man. If he sees a doll anywhere near him, he freaks out.
That was the entire like 80s.
Literally.
Like the horror movies in
Chucky.
those. Yes. That's why when
Bride
people
of
are
Chucky.
like talking about Elf on a Shelf. Like I saw the meme. It's like everybody thinks these like Elf on a Shelf things are so fucking cute. Like in my day, when dolls came alive, they killed your entire family. Like we don't want them to come alive at night. No,
let's not give them personalities, please and thank you. Again, going back to desensitizing your children. They're like, oh, the doll came alive. That's fine. I've had a Elf on a Shelf since I was 2.
Nah, he's
stop
coming
it.
at you. Don't do that.
Don't touch the doll.
I'm so lucky that I
Don't
didn't have
touch
to
the
do
mummy.
that. I didn't have to participate in that Elf on a Shelf shit.
Oh, I would never. I can't. First of all, you also can't get me to be that creative. I'm definitely going down someone's like mommy blog to figure out what they did with their fucking Elf on the Shelf, because I'm not going to sit there and be like, haha, that'd be funny.
No.
Not doing that.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, fun fact about my daughter is when she was old enough to like talk to me about Santa, and I'd say, yeah, you know, Santa's going to come inside the house and he's going to put your presents under the tree. And she's like, no. Like, what do you mean? No, he can leave them outside. I don't want him in the house. She's like, I'm like, that's actually really cute and smart.
Yeah,
because,
she's like, no,
I
he's
don't want
not
that
invited.
asshole. I don't want that asshole in the house.
Like, I
The
don't want
fuck?
that fat
Yeah, he's going to break in. No, I don't want that. No, tell him
that
he can
dude
leave.
eating my cookies.
Tell him he can leave that shit outside.
They'll leave it outside the door.
She genuinely said, tell him to leave it outside.
I'm fucking dead. That's so funny.
I think she was like 3. No, he can leave it outside.
I don't want him inside of my home.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Drinking my milk, eating my cookies.
Touching my shit.
Trying to come down my chimney.
Fuck that.
Sit outside. Leave it out. Leave it at the door, love. It's definitely your child.
Leave it at the door.
Because when you think about it, you're like, yeah, right. Because it's like you tell a kid like, oh, this, Santa is going to come through the chimney and drop off presents. You're like, what the fuck?
He's in the house? What? Why is he here?
I remember when we got to a certain age where my dad was used to play Santa, obviously, and he'd put all the toys and like right before we'd wake up, he'd drink some of the milk and like take a bite out of the cookie, whatever. And I was older. And I tried to keep it from my siblings that I knew that he was. My dad always made us like write letters, and like these real like official letters would come back, and we would be so excited. Like he really made sure like we were submerged into that. And I remember, as the years passed, those presents weren't as good. We'd get like 6 presents each, and it was like 1 present each, and it'd be kind of shitty.
Yeah, fuck you.
And
Santa.
after a while, we're like, wow, like Santa's being cheap this year. My dad lost it. He's like, I'm Santa, you fucking shits. You little shits. I'm Santa. We're like,
oh no.
Oh no, Dad, Santa? We're like, well, you suck with your gift giving, father.
Terrible. The worst.
So bad. It's so funny.
All right. I was once on my own in my family home. Family were all on holiday and only I had keys. I was making jam.
Okay.
That's super cute. I came to put it in jars and couldn't find half of the lids, so I left the lidless jars in the pantry and went to bed. Got up in the morning and all the lidless jars now had... I swear I can read. All of the lidless jars now had lids screwed on tight, and in every jar was a dead spider.
No. There's the spider commits suicide, and it was just like, I'm just gonna close myself in here. This is a good place to be. What? And there was a dead spider in each one of them.
Everyone,
someone's fucking with that person.
But there was he was by himself. It was him in the family home. Everybody was away, unless a robber came in and just decided to screw all the lids and drop a little spider.
What the fuck? That's so weird. That can't be real.
I don't know. I'm just taking these people for their word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you make some shit up like that?
Oh my God. I don't know what I would do if I woke up and all those. If I saw that and I unscrewed one and I saw a spider, I'm leaving the house.
Burning the house down.
Yeah. No, I'm staying with a friend, and y'all let me know when you come back home, because I'm not doing that. I'd be like, all right, the house is haunted for sure. That's where my mind goes.
Yeah.
Okay, this story was interesting because I actually was reading a lot of people who swear that certain people were like existed.
Curse?
No, existed in their life. And then when they go to talk about them, like years later, everyone's like, who?
Huh?
That's not a real person. Then I started to think, I'm like, are we all crazy? You know what I mean? Like, are all of these people, right? Because there's like a whole entire like sub thread in Glitch of the Matrix of like, this person existed. I swear they existed. But this one was interesting because it was actually an older girl and her little brother.
Okay.
So I want to preface this by saying that I wasn't a child when this happened. When my younger brother was in elementary school, he had a friend named Jackson. He was a cute little boy with brunette hair. I remember every day when my brother came home from school and he'd tell us about how he spent recess hanging out with Jackson and another little boy, we'll call him Leroy.
Okay, Leroy.
I know. I was like, out of all names,
Whatever.
Sometimes I read these stories, I'm like, Leroy? Fuck. I remember my parents saying that the name Jackson was super cute. And when we were looking for a place to move, we thought about moving to Jackson, Mississippi, which reminded everyone about his friend. Fast forward to last year, I brought up his friend Jackson, and nobody remembers him. My mom, my brother, and my dad. They kept saying that he never had a friend or even knew anyone named Jackson. But I explained all of the connections we made with his name, the town we were going to move to. No, the town we were going to move to being named Jackson, my mom liking his name, and my brother being in a friend trio with Jackson and Leroy. Still, nobody remembers him. It drives me crazy to this day because I swear he's real. My brother, mom, and dad remember Leroy, but not Jackson. The next time I visit my parents, I will see if I can find my brother's class photos. I don't remember if Jackson was in his class or in another class, and I'm not sure if my brother has an elementary school yearbook, but I will find it. I'll update the OG post when I can, but there was zero updates. She didn't even comment on anything either. She commented on one.
Oh.
Bye. She commented on one thing, but it wasn't like very relevant. But there was no update. And I was like, how does that happen?
You got to go find the yearbook and see
you gotta
if there
go find
was
it.
somebody.
But she's not the only one. There were so many stories that I found like this, that they're like, this person existed and they tried so hard to like prove to everyone like, no, this was a real person. I'm like, is this like just a fabrication? Like our mind literally made this up.
Maybe.
Like we literally made it up. You know, like a lot of people who have like Alzheimer's, and when they get older, like they start remembering a lot of stuff from their past that people are like,
what? Yeah.
That's not real. You know what I mean? And you're like thinking to yourself, are they fabricating this?
No,
or
it's
is
like
this
a
like a real
flash.
thing? Yeah, it's like a flash. And then you start forgetting other things, like forgetting some stuff, but then remembering other stuff. So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, you are not old, but maybe you're making it up. I don't know. I couldn't explain that though. Because there's so many of these stories of people who are like, I swear to God, that person's real. And everyone's like, that person didn't exist, Lovey. And I'm like, is that a glitch in the Matrix?
Maybe. Or maybe they tried to erase them.
What, the mom?
The Matrix tried to erase them.
Oh.
There was this movie. Oh, now I'm going to have to like look it up. Julianne Moore was in it. And it was this. The premise of the movie was like this woman had a son, and you know, like her neighbor had like a daughter or whatever, and then all of a sudden the kids are gone.
Oh,
like the kids are like gone, and she's like I think they either like they had died or they had whatever, you know, it was like an accident. But this woman, who's Julianne Moore, would remember. Like she would like lay down in her bed. She would like close her eyes, and whatever her son's name was, she would say it, and she would remember him.
Yeah.
But like slowly over time, all the other parents were like forgetting about their children. And it turns out like at the end, it's actually like in a big experiment.
Oh, wow.
Where they take the kids away and they want to see, they want to see if like the parents will forget their kids. Like if a mother can forget their children. Yeah.
That is so fucked up.
And she doesn't forget.
Yeah.
And it was like the very last scene in the movie, and she's like, his name is whatever, and it's like it's actually like an alien experiment. It's like the aliens came down to like experiment on humans to see if they could like break the bond, like the mother.
That's so weird.
The mother-son bond, or like the daddy-daughter bond. They see if they can break the bond because they're just being mean aliens and experimenting.
Well, they're probably also like, okay, what can we take and what can we not take? Like we could probably take the child away from the dad, but not the mom.
So maybe she's in that simulation where they're experimenting on her and being like trying to gaslight her into being like, no, nobody knows who this is. What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, that's a good one.
I should send you that movie.
It's a religion.
We should probably have like some kind of like conspiracy theory movie night, or like maybe actually, you know what? Let's have a Matrix night and just watch all the Matrix movies.
I'll do that.
That would be
I'll watch
so,
the Matrix
so fun.
movies.
And we can like dress up in all black.
I'll wear my trench coat.
And like dance around the living room and shit.
It's so funny.
And choreograph our own fight scenes. We should vlog that. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be so funny. I think that'd be fun.
About 15 years ago, I was tidying my room, and suddenly there was a loud pop in one of my ears, followed by the sound of people talking. It was the strangest feeling, almost like hearing a conversation and then the people realize and move away. It faded to nothing. The voices were in my head, if you know what I mean, rather than it being like overheard people in the next door or the next room. So maybe she like got a glimpse into like, I don't know, someone's conversation.
Wasn't it that movie Amityville Horror?
That movie's What about it?
Where the walls were talking to him. Like there was people talking to him. And he was like in his head. He said that it was coming from like the walls, like telling him to like kill his family.
Catch him and kill him. Catch him and kill him.
Yeah, fucking like you like somebody says that to me. Somebody's like, "Oh my god, my ear popped and I started hearing voices." I'm running away from you. I am going the other way. I'm not gonna be like, you know what? That might have been a glitch in the Matrix. No, bitch, you're crazy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Next thing you know, I see you on the news. No, thank you. You're crazy and scary. If you hear voices in your head, seek help.
I mean,
like,
it could
I
be
talk to myself.
schizophrenia.
I talk to myself.
Is it phrenia or phrenia?
I said phrenia. I say
Is it
phrenia.
schizophrenia?
But you can't ask me. I say everything incorrectly. I make up my own words.
Schizophrenia.
I've never heard schizophrenia. It's Fuck. Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia. Yeah.
Maybe if you're from the Midwest, you'd say schizophrenia.
I don't know. I've never been in the Midwest. You're supposed to take me. Let's go.
Yeah, we could do that.
Actually, you know what we can do? I'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
All right, go. How many? Do you have any more? How many?
I have one more really long one.
All right, I'm gonna get comfy for this one.
Okay.
Let's go.
The title is "Got Home but Never Walked Through the Door."
Oh.
So this happened to me years ago in college. Hold on a second. I need to zoom in because I can't see.
Struggle, man.
This happened to me years ago in college, and I don't know if this was the right place for the story, but here you go. I'd walk home from a bar that was 5 doors away because I'd broken a heel on the shoes I was wearing. My plan was to get different shoes and go back because my roommate and friends were still there. I took the shoes off and jogged barefoot down the sidewalk because I was alone and it was just before 1 a.m. I placed one foot on the front step and reached into my jacket pocket to pull out my keys, and then I was standing in my living room. I dropped my keys on the floor because I was so startled. I hadn't even walked up the steps much, less unlocked the door and walked inside. So if you're not following, because I can't read properly, she was on the steps trying to take her keys out and they fell, but when she went to go pick them up, she was already in the living room. Okay.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did. I missed that. I missed that whole
Yeah, because I can't read properly. All the lights were on and the movie Hitch was playing on the TV. It was a scene where he was walking and drinking liquid Benadryl from a straw. I still had my jacket and crossbody purse on, but the broken shoes I'd been carrying were on the floor near a table that was against the wall furthest from the door. I was so confused, it made me want to cry, which became even more overwhelming when I looked down and saw that I was wearing a pair of untied tennis shoes I'd never seen before. I pulled my cell phone out of my purse just as I got a call, and the ringtone was Rehab by Amy Winehouse.
What?
But had always just been a default tone and was almost always on silent. Before I could answer it, my roommate came in through the front door with 2 of our friends, asking me where I had been and why I hadn't answered my phone. I couldn't even answer her because I was so freaked out. I just looked down at the phone and saw the notification that I had 9 missed calls and that it was 2:17 a.m. I'd been gone for over an hour. I sat down on the couch and started crying. It took me at least 10 minutes to calm down enough to tell them what happened, and they all kept telling me that I was just drunk. I knew I wasn't drunk. I had 2 beers at the bar because I'd shown up late after working in a restaurant until 11:30. I never sat the drinks down, so there's no explanation as to that I may have been drugged. They told me I must have just forgotten I'd bought the shoes I was wearing, which seemed so ridiculous, being that I have never seen them before. I've talked about the night in therapy and have tried to convince myself that it was... Wait, hold on. I talked about that night in therapy and have tried to convince myself that it was all in my head, but I can't. There were things that I remember incorrectly from before that night. Memories I'd told didn't happen the way that they exist in my head or at all. And people... Wait, hold on.
Yo, this really freaked me out.
Hold on. There were things that I remember incorrectly from before that night. Memories I'm told didn't happen the way they exist in my head or at all. People I think look different. What the fuck does that mean? Physical things that aren't right, like the knob on my dad's back door being on the opposite side. So she's just starting to like lose it, I guess. I rarely tell people about my experience, but recently I told a friend that has a PhD in theoretical physics and has known me since childhood. At no point did he offer an explanation or validation, but he did entertain my questions about ideas regarding the existence of other dimensions or timelines. He never talked a lot about what we don't or can't know, as well as the existence of things that we just can't explain. Admittedly, he's way too smart, and a lot of what he said it made absolutely no sense. It did bring me here, though, to bore anyone who reads this in hopes that maybe someone will tell me something I haven't heard yet.
So that one kind of freaked me out.
Yeah. Like that was like that was my last one, but that was like basically like her glitch in the Matrix. So it was like her heel. So she's out. She only had 2 beers. She broke her heel. She's on her way home. She goes to grab her keys. She drops them at the front step. But when she picks them up, she's in her living room. She has sneakers on. The heels are all the way on the other side of the room. Her roommate walks in where is like, where the fuck have you been? She's like, what?
The fuck? Yeah, that's
And like
crazy.
hours passed and she starts crying and she's like, no, she's like, I wasn't drugged. I only had 2 beers. Like, how do you explain that?
Well,
like
especially when everyone's trying to tell you, well, you're just drunk. You're just drunk. It's fine. And you're like, no, it's not what it is.
I had two things of beer. I think it's a little tricky though, because when I read it the second time, because I can't read, so I had to read it the second time out loud.
It helps. I'm
it
telling
does
you.
help. But I was like thinking to myself, I was like, well, maybe, like I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I'm not drunk. And the next day I was like, I was hammered.
I never think that I'm drunk when I'm drunk. I'm like, no, I'm fine. Let's do another shot. They're like, we're leaving.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. And then the next day you're like, I don't remember shit. So I was like, maybe it was one of those where she only remembers up until 2 beers. But I feel like if you're the next day, you're like, oh, I was really drunk last night, but I was trying to convince, but you know that you were taking shots. You know that you were getting hammered. And she came from work, so she probably didn't eat. She's probably really, really drunk. But like days and days later, she's still telling the story because it fucked her up so bad. Like she was very coherent in that moment to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know, because if you're drunk, the next day you'd be like, oh, that was like weird. And like, oh yeah, I was just drunk. Like, I guess. But she was convinced, first of all, I wasn't drunk. And 2, like I picked up my keys and I came to at a different time.
Yeah, no, that's a hard pass for me. And that's why like when things like that happen, you have somebody with you, at least you can have that kind of like
validation,
reassurance that you're not insane.
Like the dog.
The dog or for the elevator story where there was the 2 of them, they're like, did you just see that? Because like, am I insane? They're like, no, I saw it like, too. That was like, real. Okay, like you need that kind of like, have a buddy system.
Yeah.
Never go anywhere alone, even to the bathroom.
Start recording everything.
I have 2 more. These are just really short ones, and then we can end it because I just really like reading these stories. They're kind of cool, and I low-key kind of wish something like this would happen to me so I could be like, I experienced my glitch in the Matrix.
Mood.
So I was making myself a cup of tea and then put the milk back in the fridge after using it. The doorbell rang, so I answered it, and when I came back to get my cup of tea, the milk was beside my cup. I thought it was weird, but maybe I got distracted by the door and put it down instead of putting it away. I took it to the fridge, opened the door, and there was the milk. I had 2 identical milks. We had definitely only bought 1 carton, so I have no idea what happened.
There was a story that I read about this.
Did you?
This is a thing where identical things start appearing. Yeah? This woman had a custom-made a hat. It was a custom-made hat.
Okay.
And she had it, and it was always in this one very, 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 very specific place. And all of a sudden, one day, she's like, what the fuck is this doing out? And when she went to go put it away, where it normally is, there was one already in there.
And you're like, where did this
And you're like, huh?
huh?
And she's like, there's no explanation. I only bought 1. It's custom made. Why would I have 2? I've never had 2. I never bought 2. I bought 1. And it's always been in the same place. When I saw it laying out, she went to go put it back, and there was one already identical, literally identical. Well, how do you explain that?
Yeah, that makes me scared. I'm nervous. I'm scared.
I don't like that. We're opening portals.
I know. Okay, very last one of today. I went to an event with my very first digital camera. This was back in the 90s.
Okay.
When they were quite the new thing. I took a lot of photos in the morning, and then around lunchtime, I realized that I lost the camera. I was gutted. Retraced my steps, asked at every stall I'd stopped whether it had been handed in, but there was no trace of it. At the end of the day, you know how much I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that saying. But
I
anyways,
say it all the time.
At the end of the day, I went back to my locked hotel room, quite some distance from the event, and the camera was sitting right in the middle of my bed with all the photos from the morning on it.
It's weird. I don't like that. That's so weird.
Who put it there?
Maybe somebody stole it
and put it in his locked hotel room?
Yeah. Like that's where it gets tricky, going back to what I was saying. How much can you trust your brain? Like, how much can you trust your brain to be like, yes, no, that actually happened or whatever?
I don't know. He said he lost it in the middle of the day, didn't go back to the hotel room until the end of the day. So how did it get there? With all the pictures from the morning.
That's weird. That's weird. How do you explain it?
I mean, I think in any sense there could be some kind of explanation for it, maybe. Maybe he blacked out and just put it back in the hotel room and he just like forgot. Maybe it was a ghost. Maybe it was an alien. I don't know, but there's definitely a lot of things that go on that are unexplainable. And we kind of say, oh, we gaslight ourselves into thinking that maybe we're just like a little bit crazy or.
Yeah. And people who do believe, like, when you get into like conspiracy side of like glitch in the Matrix, I think people really get really into it too.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like the glitch in the Matrix. And maybe it does stem from movies that we've watched and people are like, oh, that's the only explanation for this. There's no other explanation. You can't think of another explanation but being a glitch in the Matrix. But I'm like, I personally have a hard time like letting my brain get to a point where it's like, oh, that was definitely a glitch in the Matrix. Like two things appearing at once. I just feel like as I get older, I'm like, I feel like there's an explanation for everything. There's some things that I'm like, I can't like explain. Right.
Well,
like,
do you think that maybe it's because your brain is calcified now from all the fluoride?
You know what? Maybe. But guess what? My teeth are great.
I think that's probably a big reason as to why like children see things, differently because their minds are not as
because they're not
jaded.
Using fluoride.
Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not calcified. Maybe they're not jaded. And growing older,
well,
you
they're
see
open. Their minds are open.
But you see so much like as you age, especially getting past like your formative years, like your teens, like even your early 20s. And you go through life like before you're really supposed to like stand on your own and be an adult. And when you finally get to that point, everything gets thrown at you. So it's kind of like your
mind is consumed with something else. You're open to other things.
And you're jaded. Like, there's just literally no way that magic can exist. There's no way that any of that can exist because like this is real fucking life that I'm dealing with here, right? But when you're a child, you have all of these things and you probably see more things, or like a dog. Mm-hmm. That's why dogs they just operate on a different frequency than we do. They can see different things because they don't have stress like we have stress.
No.
They're little freeloaders,
Little freeloaders.
You're little freeloaders living in your house. Same thing with children.
Eating my food.
Eating my food. Yeah.
Breathing my air.
Touching my shit. Don't fucking
Stop touching my shit. Little twerp. I love that.
I haven't
said twerp in a while.
I love twerps. So,
right.
I mean, we didn't really dispel any conspiracy. I think it's still very much. Are we living in a matrix?
Well, that's the thing. Going back to what I was saying, you can't prove it wrong.
No.
You can't prove that it doesn't exist. You can't prove that magic doesn't exist. You can't prove that the Matrix doesn't exist.
And now we know for sure that aliens do exist. So maybe it'll get debunked and the CIA will come out and be like, I think
we'll be long gone by the time that actually comes out.
I don't know. I think we should do a whole episode on like everything that the CIA has actually debunked. Like it's all declassified.
Okay, our next conspiracy episode next month's conspiracy episode is going to be about the CIA.
You can actually go on their website and like look up all of the declassified documents.
We'll be canceled after that episode, but it's okay. Make sure you stick with us.
If we go missing, we don't want to be missing.
Yeah.
So everyone knows.
Yeah. If we disappear, it's not because we wanted that.
No. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Make sure you hit the follow button on all of our socials.
Yes. And give us a rating, please, and thank you. And if you don't want to listen to us, tell us why.
Yeah, we got one-star review. Explain yourself. Whoever did it, come at me. Anyways, on the DL.pod, on all of our socials, we're on YouTube. Go follow us.
Subscribe.
Look at us dancing around. For last week's episode, you'll see my interpretation of how that man had his head back out over the chair.
It's so funny. I love watching them more because when I edit, I could watch the whole thing and I'm like, I'm like literally sitting in my bed like a little gremlin, like laughing, like chuckling to myself.
Because we're silly. And you know what? It's a fun time being a silly goose, let me tell you.
Yes, I'd rather be a silly goose.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.